Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Soumya Madhvi Mataji. Pranam Mataji.
Dandot Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances and Dandot Pranam to all of you. I invite you to the early morning short Bhagavatam class, which has been organized by ISKCON Radha Govinda Temple, Kulai, Mangaluru. And indeed, I invite you for and on behalf of His Grace, Sri Ramanishra Das Prabhuji. Let us begin with the prayers, asking Lord's mercy so that we understand what Lord wants us to know and understand. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pesaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Ptarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyata Deshatarine Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitamena Bhutale Swayam Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Bhagavatam Shri Vishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Gunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagar Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitasya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauram Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please follow me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire
Surnatam Swakataha Krishna Purya Shravana Kirtana
Shrivatam Swakataha Krishnaha Punya
Shravana Kirtana
Shrivatam
Hridayanta Stoya Bhadrani Viduroti Surastatam
Hridayanta
Yantani Vidunoti Surusatam
Nasta Praeshwa Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
नष्टप्रायेषु
अष्टप्रायेषु
प्रपदेषु
नित्यं
नित्यं
भागवत
भागवतसेवया
भागवतसेवया
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी
भगवती
भगवति
श्लोके
उत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति
भक्तिर्भवति
नैष्टिकी
नैष्टिकी
Only Lord Krishna could bestow us with Naistiki Bhakti, for which we are worshipping. And if we continue with daily Bhagavad recitation, then it certainly removes all inauspicious things from our life also. Those who would like to recite the verse can raise their hands. Riste apyaya karimmayam petakulam tavejitam matasyatam avidasya kim asat karma bhir bhavet. Madhumai Mataji. Please go ahead, Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी प्रणाम प्रभु जी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय सृष्ट्यप्ययकरीं मायां वेलाकुलान्तवेगितां मत्तस्या ताम् अविज्ञस्य किम् असत्कर्मभिर्भवेत् थैंक यू प्रभु जी हरे कृष्ण
Thank you. Chitra Mohini Devidasi ji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रणाम प्रभु जी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय सृष्टप्ययकरीं मायां वेलाकुलान्तवेगितां मत्तस्य तामविघ्नस्य किं सत्कर्मभिर्भवेत् हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी थैंक यू प्रभु
Thank you. Pranandini Madhuri Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी प्रणाम प्रभु जी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय सृष्ट्यपय करीमायं बेलकुलन्तवेगितं मत्तस्य तम अभिज्ञस्य किम असत्कर्मभिर्भवेत् हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी थैंक यू प्रभु
Thank you. Uma Kalkrani Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी
Hare
ओम
Krishna.
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय सुष्टप्यकरीं मायां वेलाकुलान्तवेगितां मत्तस्यातामविघ्नस्य किमसत्कर्मभिर्भवेत् हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी
Thank you. Usha Dayavati Mataji. Hare Krishna
हरे
Mataji.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी प्रणाम प्रभु जी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय सृष्टि अप्याय करीं मायां वेलकुलान्त विजितं मत्तस्य तम् अभिजानास्य किम असत् कर्मभिर्भवेत् थैंक यू प्रभु जी हरे कृष्ण
Thank you. Usha Dayavati Mataji. Can you read synonyms for us?
यस प्रभु जी
Hare.
synonyms सृष्टि
Yeah.
सृष्टि creation apyaya dissolution kareem one who causes mayam the illusory energy vela ula anta near the banks vijitam being very rapid mattasya of one who is mad tam that material nature avijanasya who does not know kim asat karma bhi bhaved what benefit can there be by performing temporary fruitive activities thank you prabhuji hare krishna
Thank you very much, Usha Mataji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Narada Muni had said that there is a river flowing in both directions. The Haryasvas understood the purport of this statement. Material nature functions in two ways, by creation and dissolution. Thus, the river of material nature flows both ways. A living entity who unknowingly falls in this river is submerged in its waves, and since the current is swifter near the banks of the river, he is unable to get out. What will be the benefit of performing fruitive activities in that river of Maya? Purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One may be submerged in the waves of the river of Maya, but one may also get free from the waves by coming to the bank of knowledge and austerity. Near these banks, however, the waves are very strong. If one does not understand how he is being tossed by the waves, but simply engages in temporary fruitive activities, what benefit will he derive? In the Brahma Samhita 5.44, there is this statement: Srushti Sisti Pralaya Sadhana Saktir Eka Chayeva Yasya Pavanani Vibharti Durga. The Maya Shakti Durga is in charge of Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, creation and dissolution, and she acts under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Vayadhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sa Sarasakaram. When one falls in the river of descience, he is always tossed here and there by the waves. But the same Maya can also save him when he surrenders to Krishna or becomes Krishna conscious. Krishna consciousness is knowledge and austerity. A Krishna conscious person takes knowledge from the Vedic literature, and at the same time he must practice austerities. To attain freedom from material life, one must take to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, if one very busily engages in the so-called advancement of science, what benefit will he derive? If one is carried away by the waves of the nature, what is the meaning of being a great scientist or philosopher? Mundane science and philosophy are also material creations. One must understand how Maya works and how one can be released from the tossing waves of the river of descience. That is one's first duty. Narada has been explaining to Harsha, what's her name? Harshavishya, Vaishyas, which are the sons of Prajapati Daksha. He explains them in a sentence, and with their own intelligence, the sons of Daksha understands the meaning and the analogy that Narada Muni is providing. The river of Maya is being run by a Shakti or energy of Durga. And this river flows in both directions. What it means is there is no one direction that you can flow into, because out of two directions, one could be a right direction, the other could be a wrong direction. And if it flows in one direction, then one has a 50% chance of reaching the destination at a right place in any of the directions. That does not remain here. They are flowing in both directions, and both the directions have no destination. So if you keep flowing in this river, fine, you can keep going, but you are going nowhere. And thus, any kind of destination is simply not possible. What it means is that you're going to remain here in the cycle of birth and death, and you're not going to gain anything at all. It's going to be a question of pluses and minuses, credits and debits, and which will continue in the form of accounts, taking you up or down in the various planetary systems. But you will still be a prisoner of this jail for billions and billions of years. Because we are ignorant, we continue to live this life, and many of the conditioned souls have been in this process for millions of years. However, when you reach Krishna consciousness, you realize that this river is not taking you anywhere. And so you try to come to the river banks so that you can jump out of the river. But the moment you come to the river banks, you realize that the flow was not that bad and strong in the middle. It's fairly strong and very, very bad, tossing you up and down, and doesn't allow you to leave the bank and jump onto the bank. Leave the river and jump onto the bank. Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains that it needs to understand what is tossing in the waves, understand the waves, understand their mechanism of tossing, and then you attack that area of things that tosses you up and down, and then jump out. This can be learned and understood by knowledge and by austerities. So when you start with the Krishna consciousness, you understand that you got to get out of this river from the material world, from Maya, the material energy of Durga, and you try and go somewhere at the bank area where you realize that you must strongly continue the knowledge and austerity, so that you can jump onto the bank of the river. Prabhupada explains it very nicely here, that it is the knowledge and austerity in the earlier phases of Krishna consciousness which is very essential beyond chanting and hearing. We understood previously that the two processes are very important in beginning the devotional service, and that is chanting and hearing. If you are regular in these two processes, it takes you further into third and fourth, that's Kirtanam and Padasevanam. And you then automatically have the ashray or shelter of the spiritual master. And then spiritual master and the Krishna in the form of spiritual master guides you through the intricacies of the crossing the ocean of the Maya, and of course all the anarthas and aparadhas that you cross over to reach the final destination of back to Godhead, and always keep serving the Godhead all the time. This chapter has been going through, and we have gone through about 16 verses. Now, I was just looking at it, we are passing through and almost finished the 16 verses. The first 22 verses, I'm trying to give you a bird's eye view, which is very important now that we have almost crossed over. First 22 verses actually tell you about the arrival of Narada Muni, inspecting the sons of Daksha Prajapati, and then what subsequently happens thereafter, which goes on until verse 20. The first few verses describes as Narad Muni arrives, he is thinking, Saryaswas are pure-hearted and qualified for liberation. Why then should they be engaged in the family life? Remember, the mission of Narada Muni is to bring as many devotees back to Godhead as possible. He then thinks, I will literate them by giving them confidential teachings. Thus, he presented them an allegory with 10 subjects. This allegory is mainly described in verses 6 to 9. 6 to 8 are combined verses in the 9th verse, which describes allegory of 10 subjects. The Harshaswas, with their natural intelligence, understood its meaning in the 10th verse and decided to renounce the path of fruitive activities, which has been described from 11 to 20 verses. The verses where first there is a beginning with a bracket, and in the bracket the subject is mentioned as it has been derived from 6 to 9 verses. So now let's look at each one from 6 to 20 verses. We almost completed 16, so we'll go up to 16. First, we will see what are the 10 subjects of Narada's allegory, and vis-a-vis the Haridas understanding about that verse. And ultimately, third thing is their conclusion. So with each subject, we'll learn the subject matter in allegory. We'll learn the meaning of understanding of the Harshaswas, and lastly, their conclusion. In the 6th verse, you have not seen the extremities of the earth. That's what Narada says. What Harshaswas understood is, we see no end to the designations accepted by Jivas. It means their material bodies or field of activity. The conclusion that Harshyaswas reach is, what is the benefit of engaging to temporary fruity wax without any cessation in bondage? The next subject comes in verse number 7. A kingdom where only one man lives. I hope you remember this. Haridas understand these as, we see no end to the designation accepted by the Jivas. In this universe, the only enjoyer is Supreme Lord, who is transcendental, unborn, and fully dependent. This was the verse where Ramakishwari Mataji taught us about three platforms, and the fourth one is Turiya and Abhava or Ajanma. What their conclusion is that what is the use of working hard for sense gratification without understanding Him, the Supreme Personality of the Godhead? Another subject comes from, again, verse 7. A hole from which, having entered, no one emerges out. That's the subject of Narada's allegory. Haridas understand these as Patala or Vaikuntha. Upon reaching them, one never returns to these material worlds. And the conclusion is, what is the use of insubstantial karmas if one is ignorant of the Lord's abode? The third subject matter again comes from verse 7. An unchaste prostitute changing dresses. And this has been understood by Haridas in verse number 14. The Jiva's unsteady intelligence with many forms endowed with mode of passion. Conclusion that Haridas reaches is, what is the gain if one fully engages in karma without understanding the tendencies of intelligence? The last subject again is from the same verse 7. The husband of the prostitute. The Haridas understand this as the jiva with the unsteady intelligence loses his power of independence and prolongs his materialistic life. The conclusion that Haridas reaches is, what is the use of fruitive activities if one doesn't know where these intelligence will take you? So it's like working hard all the time, but not knowing what exactly you're going to get out of that work. And the last verse is today's verse. The subject matter of Narada Muni for the allegory comes from verse number 8. River flowing in both directions and flowing swiftly near the banks. What Haridas understand is Maya or the material nature functions in two ways, that is creation and destruction. The conclusion that Haridas reaches is what benefit is there in performing fruitive activities in that river of Maya and not crossing it. You continue to live in the river means you are in a bondage. And though you feel you're flowing, you are actually stagnant in one place. And you are being bound by the waves of the river, giving you happiness and distress. So we reached up to 16 verses. And this is the broad outline of understanding what exactly the whole allegory is that has been created now by Narada Muni. What Haridas understood of it, because they understood everything by their own intelligence, their natural intelligence, and what conclusion they derived. It's very clear from all the verses that we went through until verse 16 that they are all coming to a conclusion that knowledge and austerity, ultimately leading to renunciation, is what is the right path. With that conclusion, we know that they are going to leave the material world. The question is, all right, Narada Muni is a very good spiritual master. And when he makes someone understand, he being a liberated soul and the best devotee of the Lord, he certainly would make living entity understand very well. But then the order of Daksha would be contravened, and we'll see what happens thereafter. The Maya or Durga Shakti is, as we understand, not different from the Lord's own energies. And that's why it has been explained that we should never start hating Maya or energy of the Lord. If you hate Maya, then you are actually hating Lord Krishna himself. Srila Prabhupada explains it very nicely that the best way to come out of Maya is to get attached to something better and superior than Maya. We all know Maya is not eternal. We all know that Maya keeps changing. And we all know that that change is what we know nothing about. And that always scares us and puts us in distress and happiness. If the change is something we like, we become happy. If change is something we don't like, we become unhappy. So the cause of happiness and distress in the material world is this little damn change that can make us happy or unhappy. Such small is the thing that keeps tossing your life up and down. If we find something more eternal, certainly our taste would raise, and rather than hating Maya, we would consider Maya as okay, simple, but I like that better one. And that's how you can easily switch over to that concept of Satchit Anand and concept of effulgence, concept of super soul, and concept of Bhagwan or Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is not a concept, it's a reality. What I'm trying to explain is that renunciation would not be difficult. The attachments would automatically get disconnected because you are going towards a better one. When we leave any place or any job or any particular situation, if we are going to a better place or a better situation or better job, obviously we are going for good. And that certainly gives you an exhilaration that you are progressing towards more eternal or towards eternity. As Mataji explained that day very well, it is the eternal which takes one to the fourth plane. And that fourth plane is what we call our constitutional position of Sat, Chit, and Anand. If we reach to that position, we would be eternally serving the Lord, always with lots of love and bliss that arises out of it. It's a unique and the best situation that we can go into and come out of this continuously changing material world, which is temporary. We all know that this material world has an end point, and that end point is a death for this material body. We should then cross over rather than accepting another material body and living another life. If you so decide to continue living the material life, there is no one who would object you. So your progress, your upliftment, your betterment is in returning back to Godhead into an eternity and remaining blissful, cognizant, and eternal. Until you are attached to the matter, material thinking, or material desire, eternity never comes nearer to you. They're very happy to keep you in conditioned state and keep bashing you as nicely as they can. So if we look at the whole issue, we realize that bhakti or bhakti yoga that Srila Prabhupada is recommending us is not something that you go to the corner of the room and sit there, do nothing. It's an active participation. It's this calm karma that you will do. And whatever you will do it for Lord Krishna. Whatever you will do, you will give it to Lord Krishna. Its fruits, you will give it to Lord Krishna. And all your senses would work for sense gratification of the Lord and not yourself. When that happens 24/7 or every minute and second of our life, that is known as surrendering. When you have surrendered to that stage, there is nothing that you look back to. That's the ultimate, that you are with the Lord serving the Lord with love and affection and getting the rasas in return from the Lord and remain happy and blissful in Lord's abode. So the possibility of active participation into, as I said earlier, beginning with chanting and hearing, and then continue into those 9 stages of devotional service, you will at the end reach to a stage of bhava or rati, and then gradually love would develop for the Lord, which will cross you over the last bridge to the Lord. It's a wonderful thing that you look forward to, wonderful aim. And when you are looking at such a larger theme and larger aim, the material world, material existence, and material desires look very flimsy and of no consequence or no value at all, because all of them are temporary. If you really look at it, you might think that you want X or Y things, and that's kind of a death or life. You get it, you live. Otherwise, the life is not worth living. But once you get that thing, within a very short time, that strong purpose disappears, and the things that you possess continue to degrade on its value. And so that's all the material feelings give you. You do not want to associate with those temporary ups and downs, but you want to remain steady with that uplifted position all the time. And devotional service is the only way out. Of the devotional service, there are many semblances of devotional service. And so you must be very sure that you are having a pure faith of the Lord, and only pure faith can lead you to a pure devotional service. And then whatever Srila Prabhupada is explaining to us is what you end up getting. So your faith should be pure, and the pure faith is possible if there is no material tinge anywhere in and around your faith. All the material tinges are the weeds that must be removed while the faith is developing stronger and stronger, and Bhakti Lata is growing day by day. Must keep introspecting yourself to see that you are not going in any wrong direction, neither towards matter, not towards desire, not towards the material things, but pure and independent love to Lord Krishna. Sri Ramanisadas Prabhuji once was saying a very nice thing, which I think neophytes like you and me, we can understand easily. He was saying that when you are doing the arti in the morning, you must have such strong bhava in you that while doing arti, your eyes must have the tears coming out of it. These are the things that we must see. That much bhava remains, and that is only possible if your consciousness is totally absorbed in Krishna. If the mind and the intelligence is roaming around and Krishna is just sitting in the center, that doesn't take you anywhere. So this introspection, as Mataji always tells us, is very essential, and which must be done repeatedly with yourself until you reach to a stage which is very high in devotion. So keep doing your introspection, what you are doing, whether you are doing everything right or wrong. If you are doing wrong things, find answer either from yourself, from the book, Guru Sastra and Sadhu, or from your associates, or from Guruji. You will get the answer. If you have the question, Krishna makes sure that you get answer. You get answer by someone so close and dear to you that you would surprise. But I have experienced many a times that when you have questions, you get your answers. Any question, any doubts, any revelation, any commentary, any addition, please go ahead. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. From
Hare
today's
Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Sorry?
Prabhuji. From today's verse, what I understand, Prabhuji, that river of Maya may submerge us in the waves of waves, or at the same time may free us from the waves by coming in knowledge and austerity by adopting to Krishna consciousness, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Coming to that
Yes.
param drishta nivartanti. That one,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Yes. That's very true, Prabhupada Mataji. You understood it very well. Krishna consciousness will let you understand that there is no fun in remaining in this river because it's flowing in either direction. You're never going to reach anywhere. And so you must come out. And then if you add with the Krishna consciousness, the austerity and the knowledge, that will immediately tell you to jump the river and come on the bank of the river. Very nicely understood, Mataji. Thank you. Thank you for that revelation. If there is no other question, thank you very much for all of you to attend the class. We look forward to another class tomorrow. Thank you and have a wonderful Krishna conscious Sunday. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patita nama pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna to all the Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Dhanyavad.
Pranam.
Thank you.
Dhanyavad.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,